Now, one thing I would say, just because I didn't do the show early in the week, I still contend, you guys might not agree, this is by far the best All-Star game in terms of closest to what the sport is.
What happened on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you mean in the sport or that particular game?
In the sport.
Like the way that they've
Because
done...
it's played like a baseball game, other than the fact that the pitchers all pitch an inning. But for the most part, it's a baseball game. NBA's not. It's not a basketball game. Hockey's not a hockey game.
But I got to be. I watched from like the third inning on because Marco had interest. There wasn't like. It's not the same anymore. It just doesn't feel.
You know what's funny
exciting.
too? I was thinking this. I almost think they should go back to making it count, which I thought, if you remember, you did the show with me back then, Don. Thought it was asinine. But there's got to be something attached to it that makes it interesting. There has to be.
I know I had the exact same feeling yesterday. I'm like, even though I thought that was ridiculous, it having no meaning, it makes it really boring.
Yeah, but the problem we had with it meaning something, it didn't mean something to everyone. Although now with the third wild card, Michael,
That's right.
I guess there are a lot more teams in it that aren't in it. And you never know, like where the future is going to lie with a team that might feel like they're out of it, and they come out of the break and win 9 of 10, and then find themselves back into it again. I don't know. Maybe I don't. You got to get the players to want to care about it, and I just don't know if you're ever going to get all the players to be all in. Because now the argument we had about it being meaningful, well, then you're probably not going to play everybody. And now not all the fans get to see all of the players because you're probably going to keep Aaron Judge in the game for the length of it, right? Because, hey, there's no reason to believe, even though they've gotten off to an awful start, that the Texas Rangers can't find themselves and be right back in the mix again. So is Bruce Bochy just going to play somebody for the sake of playing them? Or is he going to be like, I need to win this game, so I'm not going to go to my bench, and maybe 5 or 6 guys don't get into the game? Is that right for fans? That they watch the game to see their favorite player and he doesn't.
Well, there were some players that didn't play anyway.
Right.
Clay Holmes didn't play.
True. But you understand a closer maybe not getting an opportunity to come into the game, but there might be some bench players that might get a couple of innings. Would a Judge get 2 at bats, right?
Yep.
You probably keep Soto and Judge in for the entire game if you're trying to win it. So is that fair to their backups not getting a chance to play? I don't know. Like, I watched it. You're right. It's the closest to the game, but I don't know whether it's the uniforms all being uniform, for lack of a better word, or I don't know. I found it kind of just boring. I didn't feel like anything exciting was really going on that made me feel like I was being entertained.
You mentioned Bochy and Torey Lovullo, right?
Yeah.
So they get to manage because their team was in the World Series last year. What does that mean this year? The NBA has the right idea. The guy that has the best record a week before the All-Star game is the manager. Best record in the American League, best record in the National League. Boom. Those guys have a lot at stake if you bring it back to this game counts, right?
Right.
Why are last year's managers who won the World Series doing it? I don't get it.
That's another good point. That means they have to manage it in a way that means something.
Yeah, absolutely. And as for the uniforms, Peter,
ugh.
I think Mushnick had this today in his column, and rang true to me. So Manfred said, I know a lot of fans, want the regular uniforms, but I've got to talk to Nike. You're the commissioner of baseball.
Well,
why do you have to talk to Nike? Just tell them this is what we're doing.
Right.
Make the uniform you want for the home run derby, and let the people wear the team's uniforms. If you're a little kid watching the game, you don't know who these guys are.
Well, see,
you must have the uniform on.
See, that's the issue because I was thinking about it. Well, the NHL, NBA, and the Pro Bowl all didn't have. They had the helmets in the Pro Bowl. You had the helmet of the team you played for, but everybody had the same uniform. Same thing in the NHL. Same thing in the NBA. So why is Major League Baseball held to a different standard? And I think the reason why is because unfortunately their players aren't as recognizable. So when you turn,
and also the hats are different.
right.
Let him wear the hat. At least let him. Also, the hats I had look like Bingo Long's All-Stars. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. That was poor. That was poor form.
With the passion.
But it does show you, like, listen, NBA fans don't need. You're going to see Jalen Brunson. You're going to recognize him. I think the world is going to recognize Jalen Brunson. But in baseball, even if you're a diehard Yankee, Met fan, whatever, I don't know if you know all these guys that are on the Guardians or the A's or the Mariners. So when everybody's wearing the same uniform, it's not exactly easiest thing to pick out. Now they need to change that because they need to promote their stars better. But the other All-Star games have all their uniforms the same, and nobody seems to complain about it.
Yeah, but in basketball it's hard, because you have to find the open man, so he's got to be wearing the right uniform.
Well, not baseball, if everybody was wearing white, and then the other team all had colors, you'd be able to pick out the guy. No,
but no team has that anymore.
No, that's true.
Now the Home Run Derby.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the whole thing. Couldn't be more bored. The ending was phenomenal. That he missed a home run by about 1.5 feet to tie it. But the players are not big enough stars. I'm sorry, they're not. If Judge isn't going to do it, Ohtani's not going to do it, don't hold it.
Don't you think there's some middle ground? There's some room between Judge and Ohtani and where they landed.
But no, there is no middle ground, obviously. You need the best home run hitters in the game. It should almost be collectively bargained. If you're in the top 4 in each league, those 8 people have to go into the Home Run Derby. Judge, Gunnar Henderson, Ramirez, those are the guys. Now, Henderson and Ramirez did take part. But without Judge there, without Ohtani there, is it really a Home Run Derby?
Well, no, of course not. I mean, Judge has to be in that. And I still believe in my heart that the reason Alonso went to the All-Star game, from a Major League Baseball perspective, not Alonso, is that they wanted him in the Home Run Derby.
And, Don, did you see what Alex Boehm said about him? So it looks like players on other teams don't like him. Alex Boehm said, yeah, got eliminated in the first round like we all thought. And they don't like the guy.
Because he's that guy. It's odd. Peter and I have been talking about this for years. He's just that guy. If he's on your team, you love him to a certain point.
I wonder, do they love him on his team?
I mean, he's just that guy. I think it's not a negative sense. Like, he's not a bad guy. It's just that I think he's a little bit much. And I think people outside the Mets organization don't really like his act. And then I think that there are people that, unless he just happens to be in your groove, you figure, I don't know, he just rubs me the wrong way. It's just something about it. I don't know what it is. But Peter, right, we've been talking about it. It's something, it's not nozzly because it's not negative. It's just that he's that guy for some reason. He just doesn't have that it factor, but kind of should. I don't know, maybe that's the best way to put it. Like I've always explained, he's that guy at the pool party. Like Aaron Judge at the pool party is the guy that shows up in a dress shirt and khakis, hangs out at the bar.
Pete Alonso, you mean?
Yeah. No, Aaron Judge.
Oh, okay.
Pete Alonso's the guy at the pool party doing cannonballs.
But usually you like that guy.
Sometimes you like the guy, and sometimes it's like you like him, but he's not. But the guy that's hanging out at the bar, not going to swim, and kind of dressed like business casual, you're like, this guy seems like he's really cool. Like he's almost kind of above the party, and I get it. And you're right. I'm the kind of guy that I would want to do the cannonballs. But hey, aren't there times, the beach bash, for example, that I rub Michael the wrong way by the way I act?
No, you don't.
Oh, yeah. Don't you get that, Peter? Song went a little too long.
Oh, no.
Don taking over. You kind of feel like I'm...
Because I really keep track. I keep track of those things. I don't care if I talk at all, as long as the show's good.
But doesn't it... I guess the best way to describe it is, it seems like Alonso has to do certain things, as good as he is, still feels like he has to do certain things to get attention.
Isn't that sad, Peter, that Don thinks like that? Isn't it sad?
Well, is it inaccurate?
You don't even agree with him.
Well, I don't agree that you feel that way about Don. I do sort of agree about that feeling with Alonso. There is a little bit of that.
Like, when the Mets, remember, was it like last year, a couple of years ago, the Mets came back and he's at the top of the dugout and he's like banging his head, like flipping. It's like almost like... Is he taking
let's say
a little bit?
He was like humping the fence.
Yeah. So it felt like, you can look at it and go, that's really a genuine response to a guy that's really having fun. People that believe that will like Pete Alonso. But there are probably people that look at it and go, why does he always have to go that little extra mile just to get eyeballs to look at him? If you feel that way, then you probably don't like him.
Oh, I see what you mean. So, like you wearing the banana outfit.
Right. So there are people that,
maybe you're right.
Oh, I'm Pete Alonso. I will be the first to admit that I'm Pete Alonso. That
You're much cooler than him.
I don't know that. But listen,
it.
I am willing to go the extra mile to kind of get a laugh, to kind of just have fun. It's the beach bash. Let's go a little crazy. And the people that like me will go, that's so cool that he did that. But there's probably people looking at it. Look at Don just trying to get attention, just trying to get the focus away from Michael and Peter and put it on himself. But if you believe that, Peter, then you probably think I'm a tool.
Well, I think it's also, though, you do that because you're more comfortable performing like a crazy person than you are getting into an awkward conversation where you have to have small talk.
Ooh, see, this is deep, man.
That's why
really
I think you
deep.
like that more.
Like that drive that he took to Citi Field with Gigi.
Oh, yeah, you remember. We have the audio of that.
Yeah.
You remember.
Not good.
Very uncomfortable.
But if I had to try to impress Gigi on stage in a banana outfit, I probably would have. I'd have a better chance.
I agree.